Imagine losing everything you've ever worked for. Your job, your home, even the people you love. How do you even begin to rebuild your life from the ashes? Today, we're diving into the story of a man who faced exactly that. A man who lost everything, yet somehow found the strength to rise again. He was once a thriving businessman with a loving family and a bright future. But in a series of unforeseen events, a business collapse, personal tragedy, and a betrayal by someone he trusted, everything was stripped away. Within months, he was left with nothing but a suitcase, standing alone on a cold, empty street, his past a memory and his future uncertain. It's a story that could happen to anyone, but instead of giving in to despair, he made a choice that would redefine his life. In this video, we'll explore his journey from rock bottom to rising again, uncovering the powerful lessons he learned about resilience, courage, and finding light in the darkest times. Lessons that might inspire you to find your own strength, no matter what challenges you face. Stay with us, because his story might just change the way you see your own. To understand his journey, we first have to understand the depth of his loss. It all began with a phone call, the kind of call that no one expects, yet everyone fears. The voice on the other end told him that his business, the one he had built from the ground up, the one that was supposed to secure his future and his family's, had failed. In a matter of weeks, deals had fallen through, investors had backed out, and he found himself staring at bankruptcy. As if that wasn't enough, his personal life was unraveling too. His wife, overwhelmed by the financial strain and the stress of uncertainty, decided to leave, taking their 2 children with her. The man who once had it all now sat alone in an empty house, with nothing but silence echoing in the rooms that once rang with laughter. But life wasn't done testing him yet. A close friend, someone he had trusted with his finances, was caught embezzling money. Betrayal added salt to the wounds, leaving him not only broke, but feeling utterly alone. He had lost his livelihood, his family, and the trust he had in people, all in one cruel stroke of fate. He found himself spiraling into despair, wondering how it all went so wrong, so fast. The weight of the losses felt unbearable, and he began questioning everything he had ever believed in. In the darkest of times, it's easy to feel trapped, as if there's no way out. That's exactly where he found himself. Lost, confused, and completely broken. Days turned into weeks, and each morning felt heavier than the last. Until one day, something changed. It wasn't a grand revelation or a sudden stroke of luck. It was a simple moment. He was sitting on a park bench, watching people go by, when he noticed a homeless man nearby. Despite having so little, the man was smiling, sharing a piece of bread with a stray dog, and it hit him. A realization so profound, it shifted something deep inside him. He thought, if this man can find a reason to smile, maybe I can find a reason to get back up. That was his turning point. Not a miracle, but a decision. A decision to stop focusing on everything he had lost and start thinking about what he could still create. He realized that while he had lost much, he hadn't lost everything. He still had his health, his mind, and the chance to start again. And so, he made a promise to himself to rebuild, no matter how long it took, no matter how hard it was. He began with small steps. He reached out to old contacts, humbly asking for help. He picked up temporary jobs, doing anything he could to make ends meet. He read books on resilience, watched motivational videos, and began each day with a single goal: to keep moving forward, It wasn't easy, and there were many days he wanted to quit. But he reminded himself of that man in the park and the smile that sparked his journey back to life. With every step, he began to rebuild his life, brick by brick. The path wasn't straightforward. It was filled with setbacks, moments of doubt, and countless failures. But each failure taught him something new. He realized that the journey wasn't just about reclaiming what he had lost, but discovering who he could become. He started with what he had left: his skills, his experience, and a willingness to learn. He took on small jobs that barely paid the bills, but they brought back a sense of purpose. Slowly, he began to rebuild his confidence. He networked relentlessly, reaching out to people he had once known, not asking for handouts, but for opportunities to prove himself again. Months turned into a year, and he finally got a break, a chance to consult for a small company. It wasn't much, but it was something. He threw himself into the work with a passion he hadn't felt in years. He was determined not just to survive, but to thrive. The experience reminded him of his strengths, the very qualities that had helped him build his first business. But this time, he was different. He was no longer afraid to fail. He had learned that failure wasn't the end. It was a step on the path to success. He had learned patience, humility, and most importantly, resilience. And with every success, no matter how small, he found new reasons to keep going. He began to write down the lessons he was learning, lessons about facing fear, embracing change, and finding strength in vulnerability. He started sharing his story online, writing blogs and making videos. To his surprise, people began to listen. His story resonated with many who had faced similar hardships. What he thought was his downfall became the foundation of his new mission: to inspire others who felt lost and defeated. And then, something incredible happened. A larger company took notice of his work and offered him a role to lead a new project. It was the break he needed, the validation that he was back on track. But this time, he wasn't just building for himself. He was building for everyone who had ever felt like giving up, everyone who needed to know that there is a way back, no matter how far you've fallen. So, what can we learn from this story? Life will knock us down. It will strip us of what we hold dear, and it will test us in ways we never imagined. But in those moments of despair, we have a choice. We can let the darkness consume us, or we can find a way to rise again. From losing everything, he learned that strength isn't about never falling. It's about rising every time you do. He discovered that true resilience comes from facing your deepest fears and finding the courage to move forward, one small step at a time. He showed that it's okay to be vulnerable, to ask for help, and to start from scratch. Because every setback, every failure, every loss is just a chapter in a story that is far from over. His journey isn't just a story of loss, but a story of hope, of finding purpose in the rubble, and of building a new life from the ground up. It's a reminder that it's never too late to start again, no matter how many times you've fallen. So, if you're feeling lost, if you're standing in the ruins of what your life used to be, remember this: the story isn't over. There's always another chapter to be written, another chance to rebuild, to rise, and to live again. If this story touched you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Your journey matters, and we're here to remind you that you're not alone. Keep moving forward. We believe in you.